We still have 4 slots open to get in. Alexis, you told me before we went on the air, I've got a list of drivers in this envelope here that I have not revealed to anybody on the planet that I think are very good shots at cracking into the playoffs, because we've got, quickly, Seabell, Kyle Larson, Hamlin, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, and Daniel Suarez are all locked in because they have wins.
Now, the list of drivers that I have, I just quickly went through the running order from yesterday and put a star next to 5 drivers that I think can win. Some of these drivers are currently in on points, but would be able to potentially win and lock themselves in. Ty Gibbs finished 3rd yesterday, so he's the first person on my list. He is going to win a race very soon, I think. He had an incredible rookie season. He still continues to impress. And in that equipment, of course, I think he has the opportunity. Martin Truex Jr., somebody who I think, if it wasn't for bad luck, would have potentially had a few
and both
race
of those
wins.
Are probably in on points.
Right, probably in on points. Kyle Busch, I think he's somebody who his talent level and in a certain right circumstance can help that car outperform its capability. And so I could see him being able to potentially get that car into victory lane, even though it hasn't been running up to where anywhere near where it needs to be running on a weekly basis. Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, somebody else who I think, he came off of a multi-win season last year. I think he could be somebody who in these late stages of the regular season could also potentially get a win and be in. Is there anybody that I'm missing, Brad?
Brad, what do you think?
I'm going Doug Rice on this one. I think we've had our winners. Look, and most of the drivers you mentioned are above the cut line. Yes, I think all of the above the cut line drivers can win. Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain, Ty Gibbs, and Martin Truex Jr. Will they before the playoffs? I don't know. I don't want to assume that Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin. I don't want to assume those drivers are done winning. We're going to Pocono this weekend. That was Denny Hamlin's personal playground for a lot of years, and we have a lot of different things coming up. Look, the last 2 winners in each of the last 2 weeks were the drivers that were on the bubble. Joey Logano at Nashville and Alex Bowman at Chicago's Street Course, but they were within playoffs contention. I don't know that anyone from outside of that is going to. Yeah, they can win, but we are, 22 races in, and they haven't yet. So I don't know that I can say that they will.
Well, we were 21 races in, and Alex Bowman hadn't won yet, and he did.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but he was above the cut line. So I do think above the cut line drivers can.
Okay.
I don't know that below the cut line drivers will.
I don't see Kyle Busch finding his way to victory lane. I just don't like the way that team's trending. Every week we talk, people got so excited like he was going to win Nashville. He was running 4th, and he got the 3rd one time, and people were investing in his championship rings.
I think he could win Daytona. I mean, anybody could win, but you think about a driver with as much experience and talent as Kyle Busch has. I truly believe that if given the right circumstance and the right situation, he can make that car outperform what it's capable of.
I just don't know. And Brad, I'm curious on your thoughts on this about the situation down in Welcome.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think they're bringing fast cars to the racetrack.
It's almost like the season started and they were like, oh, it's here now. Because Kyle Busch went, 5, 6, 7 weeks without having a consistent pit crew. They had all the problems there. Then all of a sudden for Austin Dillon, they're running the way they had run the year before. They moved Keith Rodden off of the pit box and put Justin Alexander back on it, the guy where Austin Dillon had won 4 races in his career. And then Andy Petrie leaves. And, Andy Petrie is a guy who comes in and makes your organization better. And then he leaves, and Keith Rodden, the guy you took off of Austin Dillon's pit box, is now the one who's in charge of your competition. They were making all of these offseason moves when the season started. And, I guess I applaud them for not sitting on their hands and just doing the same thing, but it just doesn't feel like they have everything syncing the way it should.
I want to read this tweet from our good friend Danielle Trotta. She was in Chicago this past weekend doing some live shows for SiriusXM, and she sat down with Austin and just speaking to the future of Richard Childress Racing and where they're thinking they want to go. She says, driver Austin Dillon says he has 2 years left on his contract, and he's committed to the 3-car, says big changes are coming to RCR at the end of this year and beginning of next year. Kyle Busch is committed to the process, so it sounds like they're going to hire at least one person on the competition side. So it'll be interesting to see who they bring in to potentially help them right the ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What big-time crew chief just didn't get hired?
Huh.
Rodney Childers?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I could easily see Richard's got a big checkbook. He could write it. He could
I think
stroke
he'd
a
need
check.
a big checkbook for that one.
But if you're Rodney, do you go over to be Austin Dillon's crew chief? Or does Randall Burnett move over to Austin Dillon and away from Kyle Busch? We've touted how good of a crew chief Randall Burnett has been, and maybe a lot of those things change. That's the other thing you have to look at. I mean, what big name person you have to go over there and say, okay, boy, this looks appealing to me to drive 90 minutes out of town to go to work every day for a team that's been struggling.
I don't know. I don't think there's one problem at RCR. I think it's a myriad of things. It might be director of competition, could be the crew chief, could be the driver has lost interest. It's like when you get a big bubble under the carpet and you step on it and you squash it. What happens?
Another one pops up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just moves over there.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem is. We need a new competition director.
Yeah.
We need a new crew chief. I don't know. I take no joy out of seeing Richard Childress Racing struggling. But I don't know a way out of this mess right now. It's probably not happening this year. And I don't like seeing Kyle Busch. Here's fate. Here's the way fate works. Kyle Busch finally gets to be popular.
Right, and he stops winning.
We love Kyle Busch. He is so awesome. And now I can't even hate him if I want to because he's not running up front.
You feel sorry for him.
Yeah. He doesn't want your sympathy. Anyway, that's the fate of this sport. That's the beautiful part and the ugly part of it.